We can't always mog Riz, John. We can't mog Phantom Tax.
Man, shit, dog. I came by for that
Ohio
you told me about.
We can't.
I wasn't really on God about that.
Nothing.
You
But
disrespect
here, you know, whatever it is.
My whole life.
You're not gonna risk
All I ever
it.
did was
You don't know, man. I
Yeah.
never
Why?
visited.
Why did you do that?
Have you ever been on an
I
education?
hadn't wrote Max either.
So for the final amazing time,
This generation is going through some trying times right now. Brain rot, their attention spans, skibbity toilet. No child should undergo the self-harm of watching this much content, let alone this type of content. Like, oh my goodness, this stuff looks terrible. It makes me worry that this generation is going to be allowed to vote for our future government officials. That is downright terrifying, in my opinion. Hold on a minute, slow your roll there, partner. Surely this era of brain rot must show some reminiscence of something your generation also had to go through. True, my generation had to go through the MLG era of the internet, XD random, the time of trick shotting, a time of screaming out YOLO before doing something really life-threatening or something just really downright stupid. And yes, even at that time, I consider that to be our version of brain rot that infested the internet at the time. And honestly, some of us are relatively normal considering what we've just gone through, for the most part. But even if history does tend to repeat itself time and time again, it doesn't always result in the same ending. Here, let me lay it out for you. Before you is a fork in the road. In about a decade or so, many of these Gen Alpha kids will have to make the same decision coming down the line. The first path is a life free of absolute brain rot. They understand the memes, Ohio, Riz, and a level 10 yacht were ultimately just satire and not meant to be taken seriously. You know, they ultimately grew out of just that stage in their life. It's like more like a phase, you know? Which, if you're not a psychopath, I would imagine that's what most people, including their parents, would want for their kids. The second path is the end result of leaving your kid alone with an iPad as if they're on a dinner date. And not only are they doing that, they grow up to their young adult stage in life with content that stems from just that. Because nowadays, that's what it takes to keep your main core audience with you. And if that all ends up being true, the videos that will be produced regarding brain rot in the not so far away future will be somehow able to top and worse supersede the brain rot of now. I don't think anyone here can predict what the next generation versions of brain rot would be. That's honestly unpredictable. Like if you were to go in 2019 and ask like your previous self in that time, what are the next generation of kids gonna find funny? You wouldn't be able to answer that. Sure man, me making the claim that Gen Alpha and their diminishing attention span is going to be affected heavily by what they consume online is a very bold statement. But so is the claim that these kids are going to turn out alright in the coming decades. Because at least if I'm wrong, it's not going to be so bad. That means that they grew out to be well-rounded, strong, like-minded individuals that don't act weird, you feel me? And if you're wrong, oh my gosh, boy, if you were wrong, you can enjoy the show, honestly. Prepare for trouble and make it double because now we have an issue of these kids being literal degenerates. And I really do hope that there will be a time where brain rot will fade out into oblivion in the next generation after Gen Alpha. And they don't have their own little MLG era of brain rot. An era free of rating people's yachts from a scale of 1 to 10 and trying to raise people up. But for real though, I think it would be better if I was wrong in saying that Gen Alpha is doomed than someone being wrong in saying that Gen Alpha is going to be alright. Because at least the outcomes would be completely different than what was originally predicted, you know? This spinning rock in space would be better off if I end up being wrong and saying that Gen Alpha will be a bunch of essentially walking bimbos in the coming years. Because at least if I'm wrong, they end up being strong, well-rounded, and mentally sound group of people. Doesn't that sound like a world we want to live in? I'd imagine. So, yeah. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think Gen Alpha is just doomed to fail, or am I overthinking this a little bit too hard? Let me know in the comments, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video.